So these are both players that we know quite well, I believe, already, Marshall.
Indeed, I've played with Milkdragon in a couple of recent team games, and indeed he is a force to be reckoned with. I haven't seen Zykey recently though, so it'll be interesting to see what he pulls out of the bag, especially on a moon biome, where there are basically no geographical obstacles.
So let's have a little quick look at our system here before the players spawn in. We have got a single planet system to start with. I believe there are some orbital maps later on in the games.
Indeed. But for now, it's just simple one-planet stuff.
If I could ask you, Mr. Marshall, just to bring up the PA stats page for this game on your screen, if you can, then you can sort of shout out things at us from there, perhaps.
Well, I'm not sure if my internet can cope with that.
Fine, we'll leave it as is. So, what have we got? This have a look at these spawns here. Both players have started off with a small cluster of metal each.
I still haven't seen where the players have spawned in, which is a good indication of my internet connection.
Have you pressed the little eye in the top left-hand corner, which activates your vision? Because they forgot to make that toggle on by default.
Aha! That would be useful. Right, so, yes, now I can see the players really nicely. So Zykey's spawned in a sort of cluster of 5 there. He's got a bit of walking to do beyond that, however. Looking at Milkdragon, though, up on the North Pole, is in a similar situation. More closer to him.
Both players have started on a small cluster of metal with a fair bit of walking distance to expand. Looking at, as a single player here, both of them seem to have a large metal field. I think this one right here in the middle between them is actually probably going to be their target expansion, because that's the largest cluster of metal aside from the ones perhaps up here to the east. So we may well see that both players begin to expand towards one another, which will be interesting to see. Oh, Marshall, your internet has done some funny things.
Yes, indeed it has. It's not going very well. Yes, I'm lagging out a lot, unfortunately.
That's fine, we'll have to make do. We can't change these things. So we now see Zykey has decided to go for a bot factory first, and we know why he's gone bot factory first. Why is that, Marshall?
It's because in the recent patch, combat fabbers are ridiculous. However, you've got to make sure that you don't overproduce combat fabs, especially early on in the game, because as good as they are very prone to stalling your economy, especially if you're building a lot with them.
As both players are making full use of the current meta, which is spamming and abusing the mechanics of combat fabbers. However, it should be noted, and don't forget this is supposed to be, in theory, a wide open cup with a very wide range of skills. The combat fabricators, because of the mechanics involved with their use, are very, very micro-intensive. So to use a combat fabricator as a construction engineer without accidentally sending him into battle into his death is actually quite an onerous task, which some players do struggle with. So we'll see how that plays out for these two.
Yeah, definitely. We just saw there a really big loss for Zykey, as Milkdragon, one of his grenadiers, got into the base and even took out Zykey's early combat fab. So that was a big investment lost very early on in the game.
How much do they cost? About 700 metal each, do they not?
Something ridiculous. They take a long time to build, and Milkdragon himself actually has a combat fab out on the field now as well, going off to assist a fabricator expanding while he's actually assisting out a second combat fab, and he's already producing his vehicle factories because, of course, he knows exactly where Zykey has spawned because of that fortunate grenadier there, which managed to get it.
Oh my goodness me, your internet has just completely cut you out for a second there, I'm afraid. We can see now vehicle factories also being produced here by Zykey. Both players, I think Zykey has a good idea where Milkdragon is. Let's find out. Yeah, he's got his radar up there. He can see there's a radar blip, so he's now building radar to try and building factories rather to try and produce some units on the front line. Another grenadier coming in here. Maybe we will lose another fabricator. He's run away. Good choice.
He's moving it away. He's got an ant in there going in to attack as well. We've even got an Inferno moving off to the east as well, probably going to lock down those expansions just in case. The good thing about getting up a radar early in the game is so that you can see those blips moving towards you gradually, and that'll give you a really good idea as to where your enemy is, even if you haven't scouted them, and that'll provide you with that little bit of an edge when it comes to actually making your push. But Milkdragon now with a skitter around the outskirts of Zykey's base, just making sure he knows what the extent of Zykey's expansion is.
Well, see, your comments there on the radar, of course, work on the proviso that you don't completely cripple your energy production, which if you look up in the economy tab, Milkdragon has just a second come back out of, only because he's between productions. He's really struggling for energy there, and that is the big danger with using combat fabricators in this capacity.
Yeah, except if he's using that to assist his fabricator building extra energy plants quickly and with any luck. Start to get him out of that stall.
Was that a second combat fabricator just died there, or is that an ordinary fabricator?
Which base, Milk or Zykey?
That was in Zykey. I'm going to quickly rewind and see what that was, because if that was not the combat fabricator, that was awful. No, it was just a normal fabricator. It's okay.
But looking at now, he's about to lose a mechs to these two bolos, also known as ants, or just regular T1 tanks, if you will. Just getting taken out by an Inferno there, but follow-up force bringing in now. But the problem is, Milkdragon now has 3 vehicle factories constantly producing, while Zykey is trying to get up a few factories of his own, slightly on the other side of the base though. But over time, it looks as though Milkdragon is going to have a little bit of a production walking towards Zykey gradually.
I don't know if you just saw that, but Zykey just sent an Inferno straight towards Milkdragon's energy production line. However, Milkdragon spotted him well in advance, used his long nanolathe range of the fabrication bot and reclaimed the Inferno before he could even get in range. That was very, very effective micro there from Milkdragon.
Great micro indeed. But what we see now is just the expansions continuing to go up despite that from Zykey, although Milkdragon has got the scout there. Commander out way in the open in the middle of his base there. Not entirely sure what he's doing, but perhaps just expanding those metal, although I think he's just cancelled it. Instead he's going for an air factory now, but the Bumblebee there, taking a pot shot.
And so, don't forget, at the moment, any damage to the commander is more or less permanent because of the huge expense of actually trying to repair him. So that chipping away tiny little bits of health that Bumblebee's doing there is going to give Milkdragon a slight edge if it does come down to anything like that. At the moment, it does seem very much like Zykey's on the back foot here. His forward lines have been crippled. He's had factories, he's had expansions denied, and Milkdragon is just constantly pouring on the pressure. Meanwhile, his economy is snowballing. If you look at the economy tab in the top left-hand corner there, you can see he's got more than double his economy, in fact, near enough triple on some fronts. So he's going to struggle.
Indeed, the metal production, he's just continuing to expand with his metal on the other side of the planet, though. He's just claimed a massive field, going to provide him with a really big increase in metal. And of course, as long as you have metal and energy, you can keep producing. But I believe his commander's just been, well, a commander or a fabricator, but he's just queued up 4 bot factories, which are going to produce, I suspect, grenadiers. Which are really going to put the pressure on Zykey, because they do a fair amount of damage. Zykey continuing to get out vehicle factories now, but he is answering the Bumblebee threat with his own hummingbirds, however, which is a good idea.
So just seeing here, looking at the expansions here, Milkdragon is massively out-expanding Zykey here, and you can see that it's being reflected in the economy tabs. He's just able to keep going and going and going, and eventually these engagements here, we're going to start seeing bigger blobs. What happened? What did I miss?
Big loss right on the other side of where Zykey was just expanding with his mechs extractor. Single Bumblebee got rid of that fabricator that was expanding and denying that expansion completely. Just what Milkdragon needs to do, keeping Zykey contained. Although Zykey is doing a pretty good job of keeping up a solid stream of units, although Milkdragon is starting to pull away now in the production, because if you look in the army tab, the factory count is now 12 to 9, with almost, well, more than double and a half, 150% the mobile units from Milkdragon there. Now pushing in with a large clump of Infernos.
That's going to hurt.
If these get too close to these Commander, then that could really hurt, because it's something that you can really do against the AI, even though they don't use the Uber Cannon. But you just surround a Commander with 4 or so Infernos, half of his health is gone in seconds. And as you said earlier, you know, you can't really replenish it in the latest patch, given the cost and health of the Commander.
At the moment, Zykey's stream of tanks just completely bypassing the front line there of Milkdragon. He's just gone in there and wiped out a huge swathe of metal. He's going to go through and chomp through his production. Zykey's economy down to 18% efficiency. He's absolutely crippled. The Inferno's getting far too close here.
Far too close indeed. More vehicle factories gone down. All of the energy production has gone down. Zykey is left with only one energy plant. No, in fact, two, sorry. There's one blocked on the other side. And there's the GG called by Zykey. He knows he is out of this one. Ubercan is desperately trying to save him here.
There goes the repair job.
Yeah. You can see there, his economy just can't handle that, I think. But anyway, yeah, the GGs have been called. Milkdragon takes this game. Only not too long now before the comm pops.
We'll see who does it. We'll decide whether Zykey decides to pop it or Milkdragon just swoops in for the kill. Where are we? There we are.
I suspect Zykey will probably be like, you know what? You can work for this kill. I'm not letting you have it. Although there is the Inferno.
Here comes the Infernos to do the work.
Yeah, here we go. This is what we're going to see. All of them, the rate at which they take down that health is really something else. Direct Uber Cannon, though.
He's not having any of it.
Oh, that commander. And dead.
That's what we like to see.
Big explosions. Lots of clouds.
That was very, very good.
Great game. Great game.
As you say, really, I'm just reviewing the game now. You look at the planet, it's just got so many of these black dots scattered all across it. Milkdragon massively out-expanding Zykey there. Zykey was being kept on the back foot the whole time, and every expansion he tried to make, as we saw there, that little bumblebee bumbled over and killed his one expanding fabricator.
Yeah, I think that Bumblebee there really did a lot of damage, although I think the issue was at the beginning, the early combat fabber destroyed by Milkdragon's single grenader. That really probably crippled Zykey's early plans, because like I know I myself get stuck out with things like this where if you've got a build that you're used to and then someone comes in and disrupts that at the very early stages, the House of Cards just tumbles instantly. And of course we know how hard House of Cards is to re-establish. I think that probably threw Zykey off early on in the game.
Absolutely. I think one of Zykey's main mistakes was that although he was obviously trying to use some backdoor tactics and send his front line away from the expanding forces of Milkdragon, in the end he wasn't microing them well enough. They all fell to some Infernos. And I think he only sped up his demise, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. But I think Zykey did do a reasonable job of keeping up that stream of units. What I think would have been a better idea was perhaps engage Milkdragon rather than sort of clump them off to the side, because if he'd engaged Milkdragon, that would have meant that his assault that actually reached his base would have been weaker and easier to fend off, allowing him a little bit more time to build up. Although, looking at the game at the end, I think with Milkdragon moving up to T2 bots and vastly outnumbering factory count and energy production, it's only a matter of time, especially with the expansions as well. He had a couple of factories on the other side of the planet. Wow, I didn't even notice those.
Very, very good game there for Milkdragon. He's a very strong contender. He goes through to the next round.